Today, we're going to talk with Chris Linsell for some unpopular real estate opinions about AI. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, on to our show. Welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show, and today is our monthly series titled Unpopular Real Estate Opinions. Chris Linsell is a real estate technology analyst and director of content at large. He specializes in new solutions to old questions, constantly exploring the cutting edge of technology in the real estate space. Chris also has many years of experience as a licensed realtor in the state of Michigan and has worked as a marketer, a digital strategist, and a trainer for major national brands like Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Michigan and Coldwell Banker Schmidt Realtors. Currently, Chris is the director of content with Luxury Presence Websites. An accomplished musician, actor, and speaker, Chris has engaged with audiences sizes ranging from 30 to 3,000. He just came back from Inman Miami. We're going to talk about what he experienced there. But please, to learn about all of Chris's future speaking engagements, or if you would like to potentially book Chris to speak to your brokerage, your association, for an industry event, chrislinsell.com is where you go to find his speaking schedule and how to reach him. Chris, welcome once again to the show.
DJ, thanks for having me. Great to be back. Looking forward to chatting.
Let's talk about Inman Miami. How, first of all, how was the event and what did you learn?
So this is the first time that Inman Connect has come to Miami, and a couple of observations. It's really hot in South Florida. Come on, guys.
I'm going there in a couple of weeks. I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I am a Four Seasons guy, and I don't mean the hotel. I mean, I couldn't survive in the tropics. And I mean, it's nice to be there for a couple of days, but I can't be there my entire life. So glad to see you in Miami. Happy to leave you too. Apart from that, it was a great event. Brad Inman, shout out to you. My favorite thing about Brad Inman, founder of Inman, no longer the owner of Inman, he sold it. But my favorite thing about Brad is he has, I think since selling Inman, he has cared less and less about what other people think of him, which is fantastic. This is the way that you want to live your life. He has transitioned into his filter between the things that he's thinking and the things that he's saying, which was already pretty porous, has for the most part just evaporated. And now we hear the uncensored version of exactly what is on his mind at all times. And I ran into him in the hallway during the event because I was speaking on a panel. We chatted for a little bit. And he is loving every second of his life, and it's very clear from the event too. The event was vibrant and thoughtful, really provocative conversations. I got a chance to raise a few eyebrows and get a few people shifting uncomfortably in their seats as I was providing, provocative and uncomfortable opinions on things. And just generally, it's a really good event. I'm excited to have the Inman schedule expand out a little bit. So yeah, overall, big takeaway though, people are interested in how their business is going to be different in the next year. And believe it or not, all of the conversation was not about the NAR settlements. It was also about the way that technology is affecting the way that people are planning for the next level of success. It is practically taken a place on the stage alongside the conversations with NAR. People are really becoming active in their pursuit of understanding the changing field of technology and real estate. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're not just having another conversation about buyer representation, those changes, because I think the vast majority of agents I know are sort of worn out from those conversations about, oh my gosh, how am I going to get paid if there's a 0% co-op and those. I think we're probably past. I think agents have started to figure out that pathway forward there, but that's not going to be the focus of this conversation. I'm glad we're going to talk about AI because as a tech person myself, I come from the tech world prior to real estate. I get
Mm-hmm.
very excited about anything that helps with efficiency and effectiveness. And I know you and I were talking about, how AI could influence realtor behavior, or
Mm-hmm.
rather realtor to-dos, I guess is maybe even a better way to say it. We believe, or you believe very strongly, that there's going to be a lot of automation that comes as a result of this sort of next gen AI, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do. I think right now we are currently experiencing a season where, well, let me back up. We are coming to a close potentially of the first season of AI in the life of real estate professionals. Most of us now, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you're included in this. We've discovered the role that AI can play in the existing iteration, in its existing form, in the way real estate operates right now. But most of the forward thinkers that I know, that I talk to, are starting to say to themselves, well, if this is what the business looks like now, and this is what this technology does now, and it is changing so quickly, we have to be thoughtful as real estate professionals about what it's going to look like next year, what it's going to
Mhm.
look like, shoot, even in 6 months from now. And this was a lot of conversation that was happening at Inman, which was pretty exciting and pretty shocking, frankly, to hear, because there are some major opportunities and some major vulnerabilities for real estate, and especially for those who are providing tools in the space. I'll just go on record as saying I'm pretty biased here. Luxury Presence has some incredible integrations with artificial intelligence into our product set. We have a lead generation, full stack lead generation solution for folks that includes a practically magical interaction with our AI lead nurture tool. I mean, it really is uncannily beautiful to talk to. And then we have AI built right into our mobile first Presence Copilot. And we believe that that's going to be the future. But there are a lot of real estate tech companies out there that are just kind of slapping AI on the banner of the homepage of their website, but it's not really a feature set right now. It's just kind of a dongle. Um,
Yeah.
if you are using technology that does not integrate this new kind of wave of technology into its operating system, you should be worried that your tool is not going to be competitive any longer pretty soon.
I think it's a great opportunity to reach out to our tech partners, the people we pay for things like our CRM, our
Yep.
photography, title services, uh, our e-signature platform, all of these tools that we rely upon. This is a great time to reach out because all these tech companies get really excited about AI, so they like talking about this. But to ask them, hey, can I see? Can you share with me what's on what they call the developer roadmap
Mm-hmm.
for artificial intelligence in particular? Do you have any uses that you're building out? For example, I use a to-do list program called Todoist, and that's just it's just a personal to-do system. And I'm beta testing one of their new builds, and they asked us if we could wave a magic AI wand, what would you like to see? And
Mm.
I said, what I'd like to see is yes, I still have to input all my to-dos because it's not going to know my to-dos unless I tell it. But I said, I don't really want to organize my to-dos every day and figure out what's most important, how much time I should spend. And again, I know this is asking a lot of AI, but what I really want is to wake up every morning and my to-do system or my CRM to say, here's who you're calling today. Here's when you're calling it. We already put it in your calendar. And, I can make adjustments to teach it better, to do it more effectively. But that's what I want. I'm excited for AI to start telling me, hey, this is the most efficient and effective way to get this done. And if we can do some of it for you, we will.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, Todoist is a great example, and also it is a reason for us to be thinking. This is a basic to-do list platform. I shouldn't say it's basic. I'm a Todoist user as well.
Oh, you are? Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this platform. But the thing that is the most equivalent sort of technology in real estate is the CRM.
Yeah.
It is a platform where you are managing your priorities of what you should do next based on the activity and needs of your clients. And think about how powerful CRMs become when AI starts taking the lead in understanding priorities, where we don't have just these static algorithms that essentially you kind of set and forget, and they don't react based on the real-time data that is coming into the platform. This is something that is going to really change the CRM space, and frankly, I think that there are going to be CRMs that are going to go away that can't effectively integrate this technology. And I will even go as far as saying, I think I've made this prediction in a presentation once, and practically got booed off stage when I said this. But I think that the Apple iPhone, with their introduction of AI into their operating system, itself could be a CRM killer for a lot of folks. Imagine your contacts and your iMessage and FaceTime and your call logs and your email. Imagine all of those things with AI-powered suggestion prioritization, even prediction of messaging. We're going to stop needing these analog tools as they exist right now. And if somebody as powerful as Apple starts doing it, the little guys who you are paying, $40 a month for a basic CRM, they're dead. They're dead in the water. They're not going to make it another year and a half. No one is going to if you don't offer that kind of service.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Google Home, Alexa, Siri, the assistants that were supposed to be smarter than I think they are at the moment. And we haven't seen much. If you use those tools, you probably have found there hasn't been much progress.
Yeah.
So I think we're due for a revolution there. And Siri, is a great example of a tool that just doesn't work that well yet. But it's going to come. It's going to come where it's going to be. You're right. I think our phone, that operating system, absolutely, iOS or Android, is going to, somebody's going to figure out how to really build a good AI engine into it, and then it's going to have access to all of our apps and all of the data if we allow it, and it's going to hopefully start organizing information in a way that's useful to us.
I mean, if you haven't fooled around with it yet, get ChatGPT's app. I only have an iPhone, so I don't know about the Android, but the iPhone experience, the app right now, you get access to their newest model, to 4.0 or
4.0. Yeah, 4.5 isn't out yet.
Yeah. And it's got a live voice feature. You just touch the microphone and you can talk to it. This is what Siri was supposed to be like. Yeah. Imagine. And it is really great. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I talked to it all the way home. I ignored my children the day it came out. I made them listen to me talk to the computer lady. And it is fascinating how thoughtful and responsive it is. And it's using all of its computing power to be able to have conversations with me, pinging servers back and forth across the country. Imagine the real-time communication that will take place when there are no servers that must be pinged. It can all happen within your device. It's going to feel like that Her movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Am I going to fall in love with Scarlett Johansson?
I'm already in love, DJ. I mean, I love this thing. But here's the reality for real estate professionals: you should be really scared about this if you are not thinking about this technology. And I want to give you one other reason why. Okay, I think I touched on this a little bit last time we talked, but this really drives it home. OpenAI is the company that powers ChatGPT. They are continually training on new data. They're continually trying to find new data sets that they can incorporate. But there's a handful of data sets that they can't get a hold of because it's proprietary. One of those data sets is Google's review data. Google says, ChatGPT, you can't have access to this because we want access to it. Well, Gemini, which is Google's model, is now training also on the reviews that are being left for businesses. So all of those reviews in your Google My Business profile, Gemini is reading them. Gemini is ingesting them. And we are, I want to say, 3 product cycles away from Google's Gemini being able to answer questions like, hey, Gemini, what's the best real estate professional that I should work with in my area? And it's going to read those reviews, and it's going to make a recommendation. This is not a toy anymore. This is a decision-making engine. And if real estate professionals are not positioning themselves to be a part of the decision, you are positioning yourself to be a bartender in a couple of years, because it is happening. This is not a might be. This is a will be, and it's just a matter of when.
Yeah, that's a really important point, is that these that these AI engines are built on language models, which are built on data sets. So, for example, I believe OpenAI just inked a deal with News Corp to get trained on their content, and that might be something you want to consider too, if depending on how you feel about News Corp. And Reddit, I know, also inked a deal with them. So it's interesting how this data is going to be implemented, who's writing the code to influence things like, making sure there isn't unconscious bias in there, and all sorts of interesting safeguards in place. But maybe we can save that piece of it, the ethics of it, for maybe another day. But I'd love to. It is an election year, and while we don't discuss politics on the show, we are agnostic. But we do want to talk about how does the election year possibly influence or impact buyers, sellers, and realtors.
Yeah, it's an interesting pivot, because actually I think they're very related, in the sense that technology continues to have these kind of I don't want to call them invisible effects on the way that we think about and perceive the things that are important to us. But because it's not really invisible, we have a pretty clear we can draw a pretty clear line between the way that we use technology and the way that we feel about things. Politics is really no different. Politics is something that most of us wouldn't say governs our behavior, but if you step back and look at your decisions and look at the decisions of communities and markets, those decisions are often correlated with political activity within the United States. And one of the reasons why I think this is important to talk about is Bankrate recently did a really interesting study on the typical home appreciation data based on election years. And here's the bottom line. You can probably find it on Bankrate, as long as that's not firewall or paywalled. But the bottom line here is that election years see higher appreciation rates for real estate than non-election years. The fact is, in 2004, this was an election year, real estate prices went up over 13.5%. In 2003, the year before the election, it was 9%. It was an extra 4.5%. In 2000, real estate rates jumped 9.33%. In 2001, the year after, 6.33% or 6.2%. I mean, the numbers continue to reinforce this fact. Election years spur greater real estate appreciation, or at least greater real estate activity. because there are a number of factors that are a part of this. But what we can see here is that prices tend to accelerate, which means there's probably more buyers in the space than there is inventory. So what does this mean? This means that if you're a real estate professional and you are thinking about coaching clients through timing and strategy this year, it is, though you don't have a crystal ball, we can look at the data and pretty reliably say if the choice is to sell in October of 2024 versus February of 2025, you're probably better off selling in October. It's just the numbers right now. And there's a lot that can go behind that conversation, but this is what the numbers say, and you should take them and at least give your clients a chance to make their own decision.
Yeah. So just to make sure I understand this, in an election year, historically, the data suggests that home prices rise more so than there's some sort of positive correlation between an election year and home pricing. When one happens, the other goes up. And then in the following year after an election, we tend to see a lower amount of appreciation than via the election year.
Yeah, there's this hangover following an election year. There's a housing price appreciation hangover, and we do not appreciate as quickly.
Now, that might make sense. We could speculate on why the year after is. It could be just a sheer number of people going, my guy lost, the other person, or my candidate lost, the other person won, and maybe I'm worried that they're going to do something to damage the country, and so I'm going to stay put at the moment. Maybe it's just keeps. Who knows? We don't know exactly why it happens, and that's not the point of us telling you this.
I think like one thing that is pretty clear during an election year, candidates tend to talk about the economy quite a bit, actually. And when sentiment in the when economic sentiment in the United States is high, homes just tend to sell for a little bit more. It is just the reality. People have confidence in the economy. They are willing to spend a little bit more. Often, though, I'm not gonna say that this is a for sure, but often, you'll see conveniently that interest rates tend to drop just a little bit during an election year in order for the conversation around the economy to be a little bit more palatable and thoughtful. And this tends to spur economic activity, including in durable goods like homes. The reason why I am confident I'm not crazy here is that you can actually find a similar graph when it comes to automobiles too. Even when automobile prices, especially used cars, have been really struggling in the last 6 months, you can look historically at the typical price or the typical shrink in value, because cars kind of go the other way than houses. But cars depreciate less during election years than they do in otherwise. So this is not like a coincidental phenomenon. This is kind of part of the cycle, and we should expect it this year. In fact, I think it could be, and I know unpopular here, but this could be a relatively controversial election. There's going to be a lot of folks who are going to have conversations on both sides of the aisle. The economy is going to be front and center in those conversations. If you pair that with all of the kind of ruminations happening in the real estate space, we might be in for kind of a wild ride this year. I have a feeling we're going to see prices continue to move up, despite the fact that the economy is there'll be divided opinions on how the economy is performing.
So if you're looking for a reason to reach out to prospective clients or past clients or people that are just interested in maybe considering a change in their real estate situation, this would be an opportunity to say, hey, just so you know, there's this data that suggests X and Y, and I thought you should know that, being this year, homes tend to sell for a little higher than they will in future years, or sorry, in the following year after an election. And we don't exactly know why that's happening, but we know that historically the data does suggest that this is how it works. I want you to be aware of that, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, so that you can make the right decision.
And, do your own research too. Like, get into your MLS and understand the specifics for your particular market. It is absolutely going to be different in San Francisco and Chicago and rural Michigan and upstate New York and South Florida. All of these markets have their own conditions here, but you have the data in front of you. In fact, it was there's a report from McKinsey, the consulting firm that was published last year and didn't get a lot of attention, but it is starting to resurface right now. A report that basically says real estate possesses an untapped volume of value via the data that we have in front of us, meaning this is going to be a really valuable data set for AI specifically. But right now, we don't have AI chewing through the data, the historical MLS data, in the way that it will be probably a year from now. So right now, real estate professionals, get into your MLS, understand the trends happening in your space. You have exclusive access to all of the listing data that has powered your market in the last year. Get in there and understand what are the trends in the last election year versus the year following an election. What are the trends in your market last year versus this year? Do some very basic analysis here. You have access to data that nobody else does. And I guarantee you, if you're writing this down right now, you are in the vast minority. Most people are listening to this like, oh yeah, I should do that. But they're not going to do anything about it. If you're actually writing this down, you're going to get into your MLS and review that data. You're going to be one of the 5% who actually takes action here and one of the 2% who is actually going to send anything to your clients. So take advantage of it. Be part of that 2%. Use your data. Okay, rant over.
I love it. So if you have a tool like InfoSparks in your MLS or some tool that allows you to look at this data, please do it. And also, great opportunity to ask ChatGPT to accumulate their information about this as well. You want to confirm that data, of course, with your MLS data, but a great opportunity to say, in my local market, what have historically have been the home price movement, election year, after election year, before election year. But yeah, the great opportunity to reach out to clients and just provide some value in an election year. Chris, this is a great opportunity for us to wrap this conversation up. We will talk again next month. Want to remind everyone, if you're looking for a speaker, Chris has spoken at conferences all over the country. He is consistently asked by National Association of Realtors, Inman, lots of other regional and national conferences to come speak about his thoughts on real estate. He's got opinions. They are well researched, and he's a fantastic dynamic speaker. Consider reaching out to him to see if he'd be a good fit for your next speaking engagement. ChrisLinsell.com is where you go. We will have a link to that in the show notes. Chris, anything else we should plug for you?
Come over to Luxury Presence. We're doing some cool stuff here. I know this is not a space for me to plug my gig at Luxury Presence, but I genuinely have never been as confident as I am right now that I am with a team that is providing the next generation of success for real estate professionals. So this is my unbiased, they pay me a salary to work there, but I'd say this if I wasn't working there, frankly. It's just a really damn impressive set of tools, and you'll be shocked at how good it is when you get in there.
Awesome. And on behalf of all of our audience, we thank Chris for his time today. He's got a hard stop. We're going to let him enjoy his memorial. It is Memorial Day.
It is Memorial Day.
Weekend. Sorry, I got getting it confused with Veterans Day. We're going to let him enjoy his weekend with his family. On behalf of Chris and myself, we want to also thank everyone who's listening to us right now. Please support our sponsors. Please give Chris a follow. You can also find him on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle, Chris?
I'm actually not as active on Twitter anymore because
you're more of a LinkedIn guy.
Yeah. Elon Musk, he got mad at me, I guess. I don't know. But
you got shadow banned.
You can definitely find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Threads. I'm there occasionally.
You're on Threads? You're the one guy on Threads.
There's a few of us. Just search Chris Linsell. There's one guy in the UK. There's one guy in the UK who's like a professor somewhere. It's not me. Look for the guy with the glasses and the beard. And yeah, come argue with me on social media. And if you're coming to NAR in Boston this fall, come find me. If you're coming to Triple Play in Atlantic City, come find me. I'm doing a couple of other things. Those are the big ones. Awesome. Can't wait to connect with you guys. Come see me.
Awesome. Well, we will see everybody on the next episode. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.